Okay, new video, and I don't think it's just restricted to the dog training community. I think it's going viral throughout just like social media across the board. So I wanted to do a video on the subject. The Academy of Canine Behavior, or Canine Behavior Academy. I forget which it is, but if you either Google it or you look through social media or YouTube, you'll find it. It's the first thing that's going to pop up. Or you could add in the search, fat lady beats dog with wiffle ball bat, something like that, because it's a big fat lady bucking this dog up with a wiffle ball bat. That's the whole video, and the dog's panicking. That's the video. I gave away the ending. Spoiler alert. It's horrible. It really was like an exercise in sadism. And I want to dissect it a little bit and talk about it, and also react to something that I think might even be a little bit worse, just because it's about a particular individual in the industry who really nauseates me, and he had a reaction to it that I just found totally repugnant. So, first off, what's the video? This fucking lady, they're like these white trash people. They're in like Washington, outside Seattle or something. Morbidly obese woman almost, and she's trying to get this dog, it looks like a border collie mix or something. She's trying to get him to heel, moving around with the dog, and it just kind of, honestly, it really just looked like she wanted to pick a fight with the dog. It seemed that simple, because maybe the dog had pissed them off, because they were probably being, in fact, I can guarantee you, if the dog had been showing signs of aggression toward them before, he was being defensive because they were being way too heavy-handed. And they're an abusive mindset. Anytime a dog displays any form of aggression, it's like this prison mentality, like, pump your chest out, fuck that dog up. And that mentality isn't miles away from where I started in this industry. Or as an owner, maybe. I think that might be better. And when I did some rescue work, Butchie and Elvis, and I evolved a lot fairly quickly, but still, early on, I was following instructions from a trainer we went to go see, and it was way too heavy-handed, the stuff that I did with him in the beginning. I spun Elvis around, it's called spinning or helicoptering, when he lunged. And I did it because I was told to do it. And it's like, well, it's a logical thing. Like, the guy is telling me to do something. He must know what he's talking about. I'm paying him. All right, I did it. And the reality is, with Elvis, he had to do it, I think, once. And then I think he stopped lunging after that. So I kind of did work with him. I don't want to promote his practice. But his aggression did not get better. His lunging did, but because I was, boom, cracking the fucking whip on this dog. And just everything was correction-based. And that's an example of how real abuse gets started. In training, whether it's with a trainer or with an owner. And that's what that video was really all about. The fat cunt in the video hitting the dog with a baseball bat, she was following orders. It was like the Milgram experiment. Okay, the guy in the white coat is telling the other guy to shock the person. And of course the person isn't getting shocked, but they're pretending to. This is an experiment, I think, back in the 60s or 50s. And the person's freaking out, and the guy goes, continue with the experiment, continue with the experiment. Overwhelming number of people kept hitting the button, even when the person pretended to be passed out. And that's what this is. Now, this woman, she didn't strike me as the most curious kind of human being, right? She didn't really have a deeply penetrating mind. So that's a problem, right? She's a pretty easy mark. She didn't look healthy. But, it was the people laughing in the background that really got me angry. And it struck me as they were senior instructors or trainers, and this was kind of like a junior trainer, and they were doing a session together where they were trying to teach her. And there was a part in the video, the dog gets out of heel, or I don't even know why they hit the fucking thing. And that's the thing that was really fucked up. But watch the video first and then watch this, because it'll make more sense. But it looked like they went in there to pick a fight with the dog, and minor infraction, she just starts whacking the dog. I don't even know if he was non-compliant with anything. And they told her afterwards, she chased the dog into a corner with the bat, and they're like, he was still snarling at you. You keep hitting him until he stops. But the dog couldn't get away. They're like, until he runs away, scared. It's like, but he can't because you got him on a leash on a pinch collar. So, It's an example of institutionalized abuse and a mindset problem. And that brings me to the second biggest problem that I have, and that's Gary Wilkes. I normally don't call people out, but I think this guy is such a piece of fucking shit. I think he's such an arrogant cocksucker, and he's becoming so well known and well liked, and it's mostly by women, by the way. And this is a common trait you see in a lot of manipulative personality types. And Jeff Gellman, by the way, is another guy who's buddies with him and does the same shit. And it's the same pattern. And it seems like they have a knack for manipulating lonely, needy women. Because if you look at their Facebook page, those are the only people who comment. And this guy, I read his response. And first of all, it wasn't one of disgust because he had been an animal control officer. And he's seen all kinds of shit because, you know, he's such a badass. So what he said was, oh, it was just stupid. It wasn't wrong. It wasn't abusive. He wouldn't use the A word. And I don't like to use that word a lot either. But this was abuse. And he didn't call it out as such. He had no emotional reaction to it. So it was stupid because he didn't pair a no with the baseball bat whack. Now, mind you, I understand. It's plastic wiffle ball bat. It's not a fucking pipe, right? It doesn't matter. Induced panic in the dog. It wasn't fair. I shouldn't have to deconstruct why that's problematic. But with this cocksucker, you do. And the reason is because he couldn't say it was wrong because he does the same fucking thing with bonking. He rolls up a fucking towel, puts rubber bands on the end, and whacks dogs over the head with it as hard as he can. And he fucking throws shit at them. Or he throws the towel at them. It's called the bonker. You can't injure them with it. Yeah, you can. You could actually knock a dog's eye out, but that's not the fucking point. Is it terrifies them, you know? And it's personal to the dog. Just like with this dog panicking. So he couldn't have a reaction to it. Other than to say, oh, that was bad technique. And he said, like I would. You know, I would have paired no with it. That's the problem, Gary Wilkes. And look, this is an example of a guy who's become increasingly popular. And Gelman is already, you know, a guy with like over 1 million YouTube subscribers. Those are the popular balance trainers in the industry. I mean, you got guys like Mike DeBruzzo and Larry Crone out there. Tyler Muto's another one. Michael Ellis is pretty popular. He's a competitive trainer. But that's for those guys. Dog geeks know about them. Your average person looking for help online with their dog is going to run into Jeff Gellman. He's going to run into Gary Wilkes. And they represent obedience training. And this is the fucking shit that they're fucking spewing. And I didn't look into what Gellman said about it. I don't care. Because I've seen how heavy-handed he is. And I've seen, you know, he hosted Wilkes in a seminar. And I was so disgusted when I saw what Wilkes wrote. I said, Jesus, this industry is just full of a bunch of fucking just really disgusting people. And I'm having a hard time articulating it right now because I just read it and I'm like, my breath is getting short. I'm that fucking angry about it. And, I think that the reason I'm actually bringing Wilkes up is because if you see a trainer who tells you to do something, whether it's helicoptering the dog, like I was told to do, or to bonk the dog, you got to use your own best judgment. You got to look at your dog and you got to try to think what's going through his mind, what's informing his behavior right now. Because maybe he redirected or whatever it is, or snarled at you because you were too fucking rough with him and he's panicking. Okay? There are a million different reasons why dogs become aggressive. Okay? And they don't all involve dominance. And they certainly don't involve motive that sounds human. Like he's being a brat or a dick or a cunt. Even though I call my dogs cunts sometimes, but I do it lovingly. Because it's my favorite word, right, Merman? All right, just woke Merman up from a nap. So, look, institutionalized abuse is the worst form because it gives you a permission slip. You get it? Okay? It's free, that form of abuse. You get away with it. And even though part of you always knows it's wrong, well, the guy in the white coat said it was okay. All right, and Gary Wilkes, to me, is the guy in the white fucking coat. And so is Jeff Gellman. Shame on you, motherfuckers. Okay, and you can call me anytime you want, either one of you cocksuckers, because you make me sick, especially Wilkes. It's beyond disgusting. You know, you want to fucking make a dog hand shy, you hit him over the head with a towel. You want to make a dog panic, bash the shit out of him with a fucking plastic wiffle ball bat. And I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty fucking old school, my mentality at least. You know, the techniques I employ, I try to be as gentle on the dogs as possible. But at the end of the day, dogs are great followers and terrible leaders, all right? But you can establish that without bashing them over the head with a fucking towel. And the great irony in this thing, and this is the last point I want to make, is the purely positive community is going to take this shit that fat cunt did, okay? She's going to fucking, they're going to put it out there as a way to ban tools. Because the dog did have a prong collar on, but that wasn't the tool being used punitively. They're going to use it as a way to get rid of all this shit. E-collars. And a guy like Wilkes would say, well, you use e-collars. Yeah, I use them humanely and intelligently. And that's exactly what these tools are for, to apply aversives in a way humanely that communicates clearly to the dog. But it's also effective, you know. But forget nuance with people like that. So what's going to happen is this is just going to be more propaganda for that sick fucking cult to use against people like me, or guys who are better than me, Michael Ellis or whatever. Now we won't have tools to work with, and we'll be less effective at our jobs, and even more dogs are going to suffer because of that fat redneck cunt's irresponsibility and sadism, and of course the entire institution she was part of, and because of idiots like Wilkes, who won't be affected, by the way. He prides himself on not using e-collars. Gelman will be out of fucking business. And why? Why? You know what I mean? Like, you don't need the whole. One thing everyone should take away from this is you don't need tools to abuse a dog. You need a pair of these. That's it. Okay. Or maybe we should ban wiffle ball bats, but. I'm beyond upset. I just read what Wilkes had to say about it. And I'm telling you, I'm fucking livid here. So if I'm not perfectly articulate and I'm rambling, I apologize. But those are my thoughts. And really, just use your best judgment. Think critically with this stuff. Don't be a dove. Don't be a total pussy about, I can't tell my dog no. There's nuance to this stuff, okay? Try to find a gray area that makes sense to you and think actively about this stuff. But you don't have to swing your dog around and you don't have to bonk them. You certainly don't got to chase him around a room and hit him with a fucking wiffle ball bat. There's a middle ground between that and purely positive and tool banning, which leads to breed bans, That's it. So those are my impressions, and fuck Wilkes and Gelman and every other fucking hack trainer out there. Fuck the purely positive community, and fuck this country for its treatment of dogs. It's disgusting.